Hi, everybody. I'm here to speak very briefly about a topic that's going to be near and dear to everybody's heart. It's called pre-commit. It's a framework that helps you avoid boo-boos in your Git repos and helps people collaborate and kind of collect and agree on standards and then follow those standards when you're contributing to each other's Git repos. So it is officially a framework for, a multi-language framework for managing Git hooks. What are Git hooks? They are basically triggers that run when you perform certain Git actions. So when you commit, when you push, when you merge, you can do things before or after those actions, kick off scripts, run tests, and you can actually, in some cases, prevent those actions from happening if those tests don't pass. So for example, the quintessential thing that I started with was I don't want to commit to the master branch. Our master branch on remote is protected, so if I commit to my local master, now I've got to back that out, and that's messy. So I wanted to prevent myself from writing to my local master branch. Pre-commit has a hook that's its only job, is to prevent writing to a specific branch. So if I try to commit to master now, it's going to reject that, and I'll show a demo of that in just a minute. But the installation couldn't be easier. It's just either pip or brew, assuming you've got one of those tools installed already. If you don't, you might have to do easy install pip or something like that. But brew install pre-commit is how I got there. And then once you've got that installed, you can change directory to your Git repo and create a file called .pre-commit-config-config.yaml. And in that file, you can put the hooks that you want to run. And each hook it's like kind of auto package recipes. Each hook is a member of a repository. You have to add that repository in order to get access to the hooks. So here's just a very basic configuration that you can start from. And this is the hook, the one that says no commit to branch. That is the hook that prevents you from writing to the master branch by default. So that's a really good one to start with, in my opinion. Once you've got that set up, you just go back to your terminal and do pre-commit install, and that will activate the hooks, link them to the tests and scripts that you chose to add in the config. So once you've got that installed, you can manually trigger all of the hooks to run on all files just to test it out. Once, if the first time you configure pre-commit, it's a good idea to just run all the checks on all the files to see what's going to break. So you can do pre-commit, run all files. Like so, and that will look like this. So let's say we're on the master branch. Remember, we have that hook now that's preventing us from writing the master. We do pre-commit run all files, and don't commit to branch fails because we're on the master branch. Good, it's doing what it says on the box. If we create a new branch called new branch, and then run the same test again, it passes. That's pre-commit. That's what it does. So in real life, you don't have to run pre-commit run all files. It just happens automatically when you do a git commit. You don't have to think about it. So here's what it would really look like. We've got a test file that we've added. We do a git status. We're on the master branch. We add that file. We try to commit it with git commit. Fails. The commit does not go through. It doesn't save that commit. It gives us a chance to fix our mistake before we try again. So let's do that. Create a new branch, switch to that branch, add the file, try to commit, worked. So pre-commit just saved the day there. You can add more hooks from the same repo by just adding more hook IDs to underneath the first one there. And there's a bunch of, in that repo, the pre-commit hooks main repo, there's a bunch of really great hooks for linting JSON and YAML and XML files and doing stuff with white space cleanup and all that. Definitely take a look at those. And you can also add additional repos if there's another repository that you find other good hooks in. There's a couple for PHP that I bugged the Monkey Report devs about with a pull request. There's just hooks for almost everything you can think of. And you can write your own. And to that effect, first, here's an actual pre-commit config file that I use for some various source repo. But it includes like Python black. You can standardize your code, your Python code with black formatting, and you can even blacken the Python snippets in your Markdown documents, for example. So, and it checks line endings and white space and all good stuff. And I'm happy to announce for the first time, I wrote some pre-commit hooks that might be of interest to you guys and gals. The pre-commit hooks for Mac admins. It's targeted towards auto package administrators and Monkey and Jamf, just all kinds of stuff that I needed myself, so I wrote. So for example, here is what I put on my pre-commit config in my public auto package recipe repo. It checks auto package recipes for required top-level keys like identifier and input and process. It also checks to make sure that all my recipes are using my GitHub identifier, com.github.home/6, except for a couple recipes for Kitematic that I inherited from somebody else. I didn't want to change the identifier, so I exclude them. Pre-commit lets you exclude certain files too, so that's really flexible. It also forbids me from committing any overrides or anything with trust information to my repo. It's never been a problem in the past, but I don't want it to be a problem in the future, so I'm just saving myself, my future self, some hassle. Here's an example pre-commit config for internal auto package recipes and overrides that we use at our company. We make sure that the recipe prefix starts with the company identifier, or the overrides start with local dot. And we make sure that all the p-lists are lintable. And we have a recipe list. We can check either plain text, YAML, JSON, any kind of list of recipes that you use with your auto package runner, script, or whatever you have. Here's another example, monkey package sources, if you're building packages with monkey package, including outset packages perhaps. This checks to make sure those outset scripts are actually executable. Every single time I make a new outset script, I forget to make it executable, so this saves me from that now. It also lints the plist and checks the build info files for monkey package. And finally, here's one that we use for our monkey repo. The hook that I wrote for linting the monkey repo makes sure that the categories are one of the approved list of categories that you use internally. Make sure the catalogs are one of the approved catalogs, so no phantom new catalogs are showing up. And it checks to make sure all the package info files have required top-level keys and that kind of thing. So it's been very useful. Here's an example of a monkey pre-commit catch here. So this is a part of a package info file that's been kind of snipped a little bit, but this is the interesting part. The catalogs, you might notice, is a string. That's not supposed to be. That's supposed to be an array of strings. So that's a mistake. It's also missing a description key, and we've specified that we require a description for anything going into monkey. So if I try to commit that, it's going to fail, and it's going to tell me why it's failing. It pulls out that file path, and it gives me why it's not letting me do that commit. And then if I go through and fix the problem and then try to commit again, it's going to pass and go through that time. So that's it. I'm Elliot, in case I forgot to announce. And if you have any questions about pre-commit, I'll talk your ear off. So it's my pleasure to share with the world.